the fallibility of them. So take a look at the media, and it's funny. I just got a Twitter text, because it goes straight to my phone in certain cases, that the revolution, because this is a revolution of minds, this whole thing, liberty is about changing opinion and getting back to individualist ideas. The revolution will not come from the mainstream media. It will come through forwarded emails. I saw it was forward. I believe that's true. That's exactly what I'm seeing already. And that's what Twitter was all about, retweeting, passing on information, whether it's through email, Twitter, texting, phone calls, or getting people together in groups in the first place. But also independent media outlets, such as this show, but not so much, But you also have Reality Report, The Real News, Ridley Report up in New Hampshire. All of these media outlets, it's a great thing. People are looking at, they're thirsting for knowledge, and that is great. Also, I just got a update from Representative Ron Paul, because I subscribe to him or follow him on Twitter. There's a motion to recommit the audit the Fed provision in the banking or the financial reformation or regulation bill. And this is key. We already know about the Federal Reserve. We know that interest rates affect people's outlook on investing, and if I get free money, then I can just go invest and get even more money. It's a trickle-down effect, actually. And this is precisely why people that support the Fed but also support Keynesian economics are totally wrong. It's just totally wrong. So originally, the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates. Say it goes from 5 to 1 or something, or 1.25 as it is right now, if I understand correctly. Boy, is that a lot. So the Fed lowers the interest rates, and there's an investment boom, such as the housing crisis or the dot-com bubble. Then, later, 5 years later, they'll raise it. What happens a year later? Bust. That's what happens. People don't believe that it's because of the Federal Reserve, but it's because when you lower the interest rates, the banks are able to lend out more because they're less responsible. Then the investors take that free money, or the more money, and go invest it into whatever is the flavor of the day, such as the dot-com industry. Then the Fed has to raise it eventually. It's going to happen. So then the banks, they raise their interest rates that were variable. And then the investors, they're like, oh crap, I need to pay that back. They extract the money from the market, throw it back up to the bank pays off the Fed, and what do you have left over? You have a bust from, the leftover thing, the leftover, the market there. That's where the bust comes from. It's not because, the investors were shaky. Maybe they were. There's always going to be that. That's what investing is. It's risk. But why would it all of a sudden happen, all at the same time? Why would investors just bust it that quick? It's not like it's out of thin air or something, like the Fed's money creation. This is what's happening, and it's basically, you have to think of the Federal Reserve interest rates, whether they're discount rates or whatever. You have to think of them as prices. You know, if it's easier for the banks to get money from the Federal Reserve through the interest rates, then it's like, well, I have total incentive to buy into it, because it's like, you know, there's a sale on bread, or something simpler. Okay, if I wanted a Wii, right, and it goes from $250 to $200, I have more of an incentive to buy it, right? Whether I could afford it in the first place, I have to be able to afford it in the first place, but I have more incentive to buy it at a GameStop that sells it for $200, as opposed to, you know, some local place for $250. I have the incentive, therefore I will buy it. Just like the Federal Reserve, the interest rates. The banks will be able to lend out more money if they can buy into the loan in the first place. So this is the logic, and this is why we need to audit the Fed as well, because we don't know who they've been lending to and why, you know, they've been printing, you know, up their butts. They've been printing a lot. And this is what's going to cause the crash of the dollar. It's because, you know, they're loaning out, and because the federal government is in debt, $13 trillion. It's just too much. The Dow dips today by 100 points, and it's been under 10,000 for a couple days at least. It's been slowly declining. So this is what's going on. We need. This is why I need to buy silver. This is why you need to buy silver or gold. Something of hard or not. I won't say intrinsic, because there's the idea that it may not be intrinsic, though I think so, because people always go back to gold. People always go back to gold. It's been 6,000 years. It's never lost value, ever. Why are we using paper if it can be decreased in value just by printing it? Okay, this is what I always go over, but we don't know what the Fed's been doing. At the very least, we should be able to audit it. And within a year, not within 3 years. Barney Frank wants it to be within 3 years, or in 3 years' time, or something like that. No, it has to be done now. This is ridiculous. We see what's going on with the markets. We see what's going on. I believe that silver could reach $50 an ounce because of the printing that's gone on, and we haven't seen the price levels change for many things except for oil, I'd say, or gasoline, you know, to fill up your car. There hasn't been a lot of change, and that's scary. Why do I say that? Because of the federal debt, because of all the printing that has been going on. Why isn't this more in the news? I'm not going to talk about the conflict of interest thing again, but that's precisely it. So last weekend, there was a conference up in New Hampshire called the Porcupine Freedom Festival, or something to that effect. They call it Pork Fest. I wish I could have gone. I really do. It looked awesome, and there was a speaker named Stefan Molyneux. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But Stefan talked about how to talk to people and debate with people on the philosophy of government in the first place.